And hello everyone, my name is Surtur from Slitherine and welcome to another lovely Twitch stream from the Slitherine group. And today we are presenting to you Scourge of War Waterloo, a game that has been released just 2 days ago and developed by the guys from Norpsoft Dev. Some of the developers are here in the Twitch chat as well, recognizable by their NSD tag. So if you have any questions about the game, any specific questions, any typical questions, please type them in the chat and we'll try and answer them for you. If you're unfamiliar with Scourge of War Waterloo, it is a real-time game all set around the Battle of Waterloo, and it is one that is pretty much the most historical game, I want to say, especially real-time game when it comes to Napoleonic warfare. It does a great job of simulating the command chain of the time, and has really, to me, the biggest selling point is really the huge battles. And today we're going to look at one of those battles. So here we have Scourge of War Waterloo. The game comes with 20 scenarios in which you play part of the Battle of Waterloo or the entire battle, depending on the scenario you play. So there are 20 scenarios that we made for you in advance that you can jump right into. There's a sandbox campaign where you move your armies in a real-time strategic layer, and battles are generated when your armies meet. And there's a sandbox game that lets you set up your own skirmish battles, where you can do some what-if scenarios or just practice games as you wish. Of course, there is a multiplayer mode as well that can hold up to 32 people at the same time. So there's really a lot of content there, a lot of things to see, and a lot of things to try. The Waterloo battles include scenarios from 3 different sides, namely the British side, the French side, and the Prussian side, which come in later, and they're divided in 2 tabs, the French and the Allied side. So we got 10 scenarios here for the French side and 10 for the Allied side, and each of these are playable for you. And they are aligned according to the time that they took place in, and you can immediately see the level of command you will have in each mission, and the command range from commanding a single brigade up to commanding an entire army in the full Battle of Waterloo, and everything in between, that being the division and the corps. So today we're going to jump into a division battle, and we're going to jump into the second or the attack on the Allied right. We're playing the French 16e Division. So the 6th French Division. Sorry if I mispronounced that, all you francophones. I'm trying my best here. And we are starting at 12:30 p.m. June 18, 1815. We got difficulty experience, so we got a situation, and one of our brigades has been engaged outside the walls of Chateau Hougoumont, and we were even briefly able to take the chateau, but it has been retaken by the enemy, and the commander actually is died at the walls. So we're waiting for a new commander to retake command of the brigade, and we're going to either try and retake the brigade or launch our attack and destroy the Allied right. So we're going to try and focus on that one. And if the right should fall, the success of the Premier Corps is all but guaranteed. So there's our overview. We got a small map over here. True position are approximate. So we got a division here consisting of some artillery and 2 infantry brigades. And if we scroll down, we can get a better overview of the forces we have available. So we're playing with the 6th division, again 2 brigades, 1 artillery battery, about 6,500 men. So that's quite a sizable force we control. And again, this is one of the smaller scenarios actually in there. If you play as a corps commander or even an army commander, you've got a lot more men under your command. And we get the overview of the score we need to achieve for the different victory conditions. So if we want to go for a major victory or for a minor victory, we need 2,000 score. So that's a way to compare your efforts against previous attempts or those of other people on the forums, for example. And here we get a overview of the commander in charge. So a small biography, who are you playing as? So for the ones who enjoy a bit of role-playing, there's a lot of text to find there, a lot of history to find, and hopefully you will appreciate the amount of historical research that went into making this game. The guys really did an extremely good job. And we got the scenario author listed here. In this case, it's made by Matt Clyburn. So this is the scenario we're going to launch. I'm going to press launch and we're going to go into the loading screen. If you're already familiar with Scourge of War series, because you have played Scourge of War Gettysburg, and you're wondering what's different in this game, well, first of all, there's the new sandbox campaign mode, so the strategic layer I mentioned briefly before. Secondly, we reworked the entire interface. Now, should you not like these interface changes, because for a lot of old players, they feel like they have to relearn the game again, I'd like to say I think it's worth it if you try and adjust to it. If you really don't want to, there's in the mod screen available from the main menu the option to play with the grok toolbar or the grok interface, and you might want to try and activate that and try again. That will let you play in a more traditional style. So we get our initial orders. It is with great regret that I informed you that Baudien was killed outside of the walls of Chateau Hougoumont, and his replacement officer is en route and comes from the southeast. So we're now gonna have to launch our own attack while waiting for the replacement officers. So let's take a look. This is where we are, and we got one brigade to our left. We got one brigade engaged at the Hougoumont. And if we move our camera up to there, we can see them fighting. And if we look back again, we got our artillery over here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and take more direct command of a big deal of my forces and move them up towards the Allied right, our left, and take this victory location. And we're going to try and ignore the chateau for this time. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take command of 3 of these infantry groups. And I'm going to hit the take charge from AI button. So that means I am in charge of what these units do, not their own commander. And I'm also going to take direct charge of the artillery because I want them to move forward. And we're going to be a bit risky with that. So with the other 3 infantry units, I'm going to send them with the brigade commander, and I'm going to move them forward toward the enemy, toward the victory location. And I'm going to have them deploy into Columbine divisions there, and I'm going to give them the order to set up a defensive line for now. So I'm giving them the hold order. And you can see when I give someone an order, it's not being executed directly. There's actually a courier running from my position, carrying the order, moving to the commander. And when that commander gets the orders, he again will send out his couriers to the different infantry units and get them moving. So there's a proper chain of command being simulated here. So having done that, we're going to move up our artillery as well. We're going to move them a bit closer to this victory location because we want them to lend as much firepower as possible. Next, I'm going to move a bit closer to these guys because I want to take control of them and I want to order them to retreat from the chateau, and we're going to leave that be for now, and I will really want to focus on this victory location first. So let's have a look here and let's take direct command of as many of these guys as possible, because at the moment they're being slaughtered in front of the walls of the chateau, and there's really no good reason for that. So I'm going to select all of them and I'm going to hit the take charge button. And you can see the couriers going out from my position to ordering them to take charge, and once I've done that I can order them to retreat, and then I'm going to move them up, move them around, and let them help in the assault and later defense of this victory location on the Allied right. So our couriers are moving, and I'm going to give them the orders to retreat. Just back down first. And there's really a lot of ways to tackle this scenario. You can also try and focus your forces and clear the enemy out of the chateau first, and take that first before you move up to the second. And there's the replacement commander. We're going to move him away as well. So before you take the other victory location, in this case I'm going to focus on this one, so I'm going to retreat from the chateau, and hopefully they won't leave the chateau, they feel safe there, and they won't join in to help on the other victory location. One of the differences also with this game compared to earlier Scourge of War games is that in this case the AI is somewhat less scripted during the campaigns, which means that because there was so much work done on the AI for this one, it's been rewritten completely and made a lot of improvements and advancements. So the campaigns are now slightly less scripted, which means that you get more diverse results every time you play the missions. So I've played this mission a couple of times, and every time it feels completely different battle. So that's definitely a great thing. So now we've given our initial deployment orders, let's have a quick look at the enemy here, defending the victory location. So here we got enemy formations, 3 of them. They seem quite numerous. They got the commander close by, so they got commander bonus. So they might be able to put up quite a fight. And more importantly, or just as important perhaps, a huge amount of allied artillery, and they're really going to pound me throughout the mission, and they are going to be the ones probably that do the most casualties, deal the most casualties to my lines. So here we have some other British infantry formations that might actually join the fight, as well as some cavalry. There might be more there that is outside of my line of sight. I'm not sure about that. So heading back, we see that our troops have started their retreat from the chateau, taking casualties as it happens, but it's a necessary evil for now. And our other troops are moving up. So our artillery, we can see, has moved up quite a bit. So they're going to deploy now. And here we can see, if you're asking what these things are skirmish formations deployed by the AI formations themselves. So the AI is smart enough to deploy their own skirmish formations and to start engaging the enemy, screening the enemy, while their main forces move up. This is one of the things where it shows that the AI is a lot of work was done on the AI, and it's very, very capable, and you're free to leave a lot of stuff into the hands of the AI. So far so good. And here we can see allied formations already moving up. They're coming close to my units here. Let's see, and they are the 2nd, 3rd Regiment of Foot Guards from the 2nd Guards Brigade, from the 1st Infantry Division, as well as some Coldstream Regiment. So we got some strong and large formations. Notice also the difference in formations between the British marching column, or not marching column, sorry, attacking column, and the French one. So the formations are different depending, of course, on the historical situation. So here we got our own commander deploying, and this is done by the AI completely while he's sending out skirmishers to screen the enemy. And I'm going to use my own, the ones I took control of, these 3, to counter the enemy here. So I'm going to deploy in a line to meet the enemy for that. Deploying 2 in a line to meet their advance, and holding 1 in reserve. Meanwhile, these guys have all retreated, so I'm going to move them up. So going to be able to start using them at some point. As you can see, they're quite fatigued. A lot of them actually ran from the walls of the chateau in order to well, get out of the line of fire more quickly. Turning your back toward the enemy is obviously not a very pleasant thing to do, so it's very conceivable that you might start running. So the fatigue hit is annoying. On the other hand, if I hadn't taken it, I would have suffered a lot more casualties. So I'm going to move them up. And again, guys, if you have any questions, we got a number of developers in the chat here. So if you want to ask any questions to them, please feel free to do so. They'd be happy to provide any answer they can give and help you out. So these guys are not that fatigued, so I'm going to have them run so they're ready when the enemy is coming, because they're coming in fast. If you're wondering what sprite ratio we're using here, the game can set different sprite ratios, meaning that you can make the battles seem bigger or smaller depending on how capable your CPU is. So if you find the game is stuttering a bit, is not playing well enough, lower the sprite ratio is a great way to get a better performance. You can get bigger battles than here, so if you got really a beast of a PC and you aren't streaming at the same time like I do here, you can even crank up the unit sizes. Oh, this is not going well. Let's change the formations a bit. These guys are almost in position. You can halt actually, and I'm going to move my commander a bit closer so my orders will arrive faster. You guys start running. Time is essential. So we're already clashing with the enemy, and that's shows how difficult it is to control larger formations. So they're touching each other and they're getting into a melee, which is not at all ideal at this point. So this is some definitely mismanagement on my side. So I'm gonna need you to move up quickly. Will there be fighting on German grounds? No, in the sense that this is focused on Battle of Waterloo. Of course, the Germans are present in the game. We got some scenarios faced from the Prussian side, and in addition, there were some Germans active, I think, in the Allied side, in the Allied command as well. So yes, there will be Germans to play with or against, if that's your fancy, but the battle itself is focused on Waterloo, so it won't feature any battles on German soil. And we're chased off here by the enemy regiments, so that's not at all good. Luckily, we are putting fire around their formations while shooting at them. So they're reforming now, and while doing so, they are under fire. So they'll be deploying in a line soon to meet my line. And these guys, their morale dropped so much, they're going to be lost. So let's divert another group to the battle. And we'll be posting this video on your YouTube channel. Yes, we will be posting it on our YouTube channel, and we'll be posting a link later on our forum. So if you cannot catch the entire show today, you will be able to rewatch it on YouTube when you do have time. So definitely that will be done. So I'm going to move my commander a bit further away. It would be a tragedy if he got killed so early in the battle. In which case the mission ends immediately, by the way. And we're going to select these guys and remove them a bit to the left. Probably want to do that a bit more. No, there is no friendly fire, but there's definitely blocking lines of sight and lines of fire. In this case, this regiment, or these guys, will not be able to shoot because of the friendlies in front of them. So friendly fire is not directly in-game yet. It would be cool to have it, but to be honest, the game is simulating so much already that it was tough enough as it is to put it in. But units won't like to fire through other friendlies, of course. So no Battle of Leipzig at this point, Templar, no. Although yes, for expansions, upgrades, etc., there are always possibilities for that. Right, where are those reinforcements coming? You guys are close. I want you to deploy in line over here. And let's see how our commander is doing. He's still fighting. He's not over-committing because I told him to hold on to the defend. I could have told him to assault or to attack, in which case he would probably be more aggressive. But at the moment we'll leave him as he is until reinforcements are moved up. Yeah, so orders can only be given in real time, precisely because this game wants to simulate the proper real-time battle. So it's actually real time, meaning that one in-game second is one real-world second as well. So it's not a game where it's by definition a click-fest. Of course, in some cases you will have a bigger army than you are able to control by yourself, but that's where the whole simulation of the military command structure comes in, by leaving your subordinate commanders to do things according to their own judgment and let them make the calls where you are unable to, whether it's because you've got too much to deal with or just because they're too far away, or even completely isolated from your troops, in which case your couriers wouldn't be able to get to them in time. So let's see how our cannons are doing here. Not too well at the moment. They're not able to fire on these guys currently because of the obstructed line of fire. But they are firing at the chateau, which is a bit useless because I'm not focusing on that. So I'm going to move them a bit more and have them try and fire on these guys. Yes, the historical game is very correct. You can accelerate the time for more boring parts. In case you're marching a lot in the beginning of a battle, for example, you can do that if you want to. Of course, if you want to keep it the full simulation, you don't want to do that. But it's always a possibility to do. Especially since all scenarios are time-based, meaning that every scenario you have a certain amount of time to reach your objective. So now we got some nice fire on the enemy unit. You can see the lines are thinning out considerably. And as you can also see, for those unfamiliar with the game, your camera is completely free. I can do pretty much everything I want with the camera. I can zoom out very far and get a nice bird's eye view of the battle, or I can zoom in down to action, which is the way some people prefer to play when they do like the HQ in the settle mode, where your camera is actually locked to your general for like a full role-playing experience of what it's like to be a general. So you have to run around yourself to get a proper overview of the battle. There's a strategic map as well you can open to get a quick overview of the battle. So here we are fighting near Chateau Hougoumont. We got Les Saints here, we got Papelotte. So all the major landmarks that were of vital importance in their Mont-Saint-Jean are here present on the battle, and can be fought over in the different scenarios, or of course in the entire battle. So these guys are running away. I'm going to have these retreat because now this fresh enemy unit is going to start firing as well, and I prefer not these guys to take any more punishment because they're already lost 270 men in their group. So I'm going to send up some fresh troops. Yes, hits HQ in the saddle is what it means, in case anyone missed that. But there are definitely a lot of big fans of this mode. So where your camera is locked directly to your commander. I think it's as realistic as a simulation can get for Napoleonic warfare. Can I see some of the portraits? Yes, all the portraits are, or most of the portraits we could find are in-game. So they're more visible in the Grognard toolbar mode, but if we hit the status button here, we get full information on the unit. If I select one of the generals, in this case Prince Jerome, we get all his information and his portrait as well, and this is there for a lot of commanders. and of course for the lower commanders some will have more generic portraits, since they are sometimes fairly hard to find, but for all the big guys the portraits are there and they add a lot to immersion. You're very right. So you can keep this open the entire time while playing if you want. It's nicely tucked away at the side of the screen and it will adjust immediately depending on the unit selected. In addition, it comes with some extra buttons to browse through different formations, to go up and down the chain of command. Right, so I ordered these guys to retreat, but I didn't order them to run away completely. I ordered them to fire while retreating. So they fire, reload, step back, fire. So you can keep the enemy at bay. And now the reinforcements is moving up. I'm gonna have you guys deploy here and in a line. And these guys are running off. They have taken too much. I should have probably retreated them a bit earlier. But, well. And here you can hear some very nice arty sounds because we're actually firing shrapnel at this point at the enemy. Let's see, already this artillery battery is responsible for 108 casualties on the enemy side. So they're doing a great job. It's a bit risky to place them this close to the enemy because there's always the risk of getting attacked. But firing shrapnel is so darn effective that it's hard to resist the opportunity, really. So again, we got a nice flank around the enemy, and I'm gonna have these guys slowly creep up while shooting. They got a nice shot at the enemy flank, and they're gonna slowly move in closer and closer while the enemy is retreating to keep continuous fire on them. Ah, sorry, Chuck. Definitely very true. It's canister, not shrapnel. My bad here. So again, these cannons are firing not shrapnel but canister shots. And this again shows you how committed the devs are here in the chat to bring you a faithful representation of Napoleonic Command and how well they know their stuff. So I put some infantry unit at the back of the artillery in case it will get targeted, because it might be soon. I think I'm actually going to move them up, although they are somewhat tired, to face the weakened enemy. And here we can see our units slowly creeping up, so they're firing and advancing, while the enemy is slowly retreating, and I think it will break soon because they're suffering a whole bunch of casualties. And I'm gonna have you on the attack here. So I'm gonna now become a bit more aggressive on this side with new fresh units slowly pouring into the battle. I'm gonna try and take and secure this, and then reinforcement with these guys once the enemy is routed from there, because there's a lot of artillery there. They got some reserves probably to form up a counterattack. And also now we can see that from continuous artillery fire, the fort's getting damaged. It doesn't usually create a whole lot of kills inside because, well, they're well protected behind the walls. But it's damaging to morale as well, so if you want to burn them out, basically, you got to keep continuous fire on them. Keep advancing, guys. And I think I am no longer needed at this position, so I'm going to move up more to the front line here, where we're going to try and push at the enemy a bit harder. And they're running off, albeit organized. And they're running into the safety of the fortress of the chateau. So these guys are now free to assist on the fight here. Oh, they're not. They're actually reforming a bit away from the enemy. So I think we're going to try and chase them a bit to keep up the continuous fire. Cool thing is, because they're outside of the field, you can see here, they lost their defensive bonus. So our fire, even though they're further away now, our fire will be a bit more effective. I'm inclined to take full control over here now. So I'm not completely happy with the progress. I would have liked it to have gone faster. I'm going to bring you guys in as well. And here we started to do a nice bit of damage. Yes, we got some green jackets here in the British line. We got the Nassau troops over here, the lichte infanterie, light infantry. Again, so a lot of historical troops are in there with their respective flags, especially on the Allied side in the bigger battles. You see such a nice display of different types of flags and banners out there. So it's very cool to see, and again shows the detail and attention to history. I'm sorry, Chuck. I beg your forgiveness for that. I'll try not to make that mistake again. Just gonna have them wheel a bit toward the enemy. And we need you guys to come in to assist. We're gonna get again a bit closer to the action. Get some fresh troops over here, so they started to rest a bit now, so we're gonna get them moved up to the front lines. And maybe take over from one of the more tired troops. And we're almost at the victory location here, so we need to push these guys out. I'm gonna try and flank them with these guys. We got the enemy running away from here, so I probably want to wheel you to face the enemy. Right, so if we secured this area, let's have these guys flank him. Let's bring up these guys. As Connor is saying here, you can actually manipulate the smoke effect in the game files. So in this case, in the game here, the smoke isn't as dark probably, and doesn't stay as long definitely as it would be in real life. But of course, for visibility and for the player to be able to read the battlefield, we lowered the effects a bit, but you can crank them up to realistic levels if you would like to do so. We got a bit of a suicidal commander here, but he's very brave in taking the location. We're going to assist him quickly. And they're running off, so now we're going to set up a defense line behind it, and I'm going to take position of the take control of the victory location. And in addition, I think I'm going to move up my artillery with it. Right, so we can see we got the French flag proudly, or the French symbol proudly represented here. And we got the Brits retreating from the location, albeit organized again. But as we can spot now here, they got more troops moving up. They're not as big as the previous one, as the guard units we fought earlier. 4th, 5th, 1st Brigade. So they're gonna be sending reserves, and again the artillery is still pounding at us, so we've suffered a lot of casualties from that already, unfortunately. So now it's up to us to hold it for as long as the battle lasts. It should last about 15 or about 13 minutes now. So we're going to have to hold this position as long as possible to get as many points as possible. Yes, all the scenarios are a time-based trail guide, so you can see initially in the scenario description how long a battle will last. In this case it's a 45-minute battle, and great, we managed to chase them off here, so I can bring up more fresh troops to the victory location. I'm a bit afraid of these guys. They're all fresh guys, haven't fought a bit, whereas our guys have suffered casualties, suffered fatigue. Hi Tabler, this is part of the Battle of Waterloo. In this case we're playing the second mission of the campaign, which is basically the attack on the Allied right flank. So we're playing as the French left division level, and we're basically now outflanking the British. If we can take a quick look at the map. So we started from here among the French lines, and we're moving up to the British right, and the British line is about here, with a garrison in Les Saint. And yes, we got Hougoumont, famous chateau, over here to our right. And all of the geography here, of course, you see the roads, the chateaus, and other farmhouses, etc., are based on historical maps. So we got an extremely historical terrain here where you're fighting on with the historical order of battle, and again as close to realism as we could get it. Yes, so there are different types of formations. So you got the marching column, in which case you're basically your lines are narrow enough to fit on the road, so you can quickly march on the roads, etc., which is not really useful in engagement where you're very close to the enemy. You got the marching column, which is very good for general marching closer to enemy lines, and perhaps to even charge from in a column formation. And there's the line formation, which will give you maximum width and maximum firepower on the enemy. And in addition, there is the square formation, in case you're fighting cavalry units, of course. So my artillery has redeployed. They're now closer to the lines, so they're better able to assist. These guys here are getting pounded by artillery without them actually being useful. Still, I like them to keep here to potentially flank any units that come over here. But for now, they're not doing anything, so I'm going to order them here to lie down, in which case they will take less damage from artillery fire. So we got these guys, and now when the courier comes here with the order, you will see them all lying down, and they will still take some casualties from artillery, of course. I mean, if an artillery, if they get hit directly, they will take damage. But for any artillery that might explode above them, they will take less damage. Yes, you can definitely have your units charge into melee. Although, well, we saw a brief melee earlier on. And it wasn't overly successful. I'm usually hesitant to do it, but I'm a bit of a cautious commander, I suppose, in that regard. No Zekblad, they won't be able to fire while lying down, but yes, if the enemy comes close, they are clever enough to understand that it might be useful to stand up and return fire. Again, this entire game is based on the fact that units will think for themselves if you don't want to think for them. So you don't have to babysit all your troops if you don't want to do that. You can and in bigger battles you have to let the AI do its own job. So I'm going to move my commander here in range of this fighting unit, so they will get the commander bonus as well. Let's run. And we are holding here for now. These guys are especially fatigued, even though otherwise they're in great shape. But a determined push might right route them. But we got a nice line here defending the hill. Does the unit show the commander bonus once it got it? Yes, if I select, for example, commander here, you will see all the units that are in range with the commander bonus get a star on it. So that's an easy indicator. A second one is to select the unit and check the status icon here, the commander bonus. If it's highlighted like it is now compared to the grayed out symbols, you will see that they will have the commander bonus. Right, so we got some fresh formation moving in here because these guys are taking a bit of a pounding. And they deploy automatically in line once they are close to the enemy. So they're smart enough to do that as well. Should the enemy cavalry come close and they're not occupied doing something else, they will form a square themselves, because again, these guys want to survive. They want to they don't like to be charged by cavalry. If you move somewhat to the left to prevent any overlapping. I'm inclined to have you guys move in a bit, perhaps so you can target the enemy from the flank. And so far things seem to be going well for now. Yes, there is a lot of ambient sounds in the game, like the streams, birds, winds, leaves, etc. Of course, during the battle, as we are now, you won't hear them as much. But Waterloo can be a very tranquil and peaceful place. Just not at this day. Yes, units carry a finite number of supplies or of ammunition, as we can see here. So we got the ammo bar over here, so they're running out. Usually in smaller scenarios it's not too big of a concern, because they carry quite a bit of ammunition before they run out. There's a supply wagon running around that is able to resupply units. But of course, if you play, for example, the entire battle during a day, you might want to switch units around, get them the option to resupply whenever it's needed. The arrows, Zekblad's asking, on the next to the weapon you see. These are buttons to go around the different units. So going left and right will give you next and forward to our next unit and previous unit under the same commander, or on the same level of command. Going up and down gives you the commanding units and the subordinate units of this unit. So if I press the up button, I'll go to the commander of these guys. And if I press the up button again, I will go to the commander of this commander, of Lieutenant Delos, and I will reach myself, since I am here in command of the division. up a bit more. I think our troops are doing a great job at holding the line for now. And it's only 2 more minutes. So I think we will be able to hold. Yes, Templar. The French, British, Prussians have different formations, so you see them move in different attack columns, for example. They have different weapons, and each weapon, of course, has their own stats. So, for example, we got the famous British riflemen in there, and they have a lot better weapons than most of the French units, for example. So they're not really skills as such in the game, but if I hit the status over here, you will see all these qualities they have, and these differ, of course, per troop type and and differ per nationality as well. Yes, Siri, this is definitely multiplayer. It actually supports up to 32 people playing this game, albeit in opposing teams or in co-op. So you can actually rally up your friends and get a full simulation going of proper chain of command, dispatching each other messages via the courier menu. So you can actually write. Let's open that briefly. You can write free text to your allies to communicate with each other, and then a courier will send them. Or you can use like a prefix information. So I will arrive early, will arrive late. Please let me support. I request infantry support to my left, for example, or you can give direct orders. So for the full role-playing effect, you can also use these standard orders in single player. So you guys aren't shooting anymore, so I'm gonna have you lie down again. I'm gonna have you guys wheel a bit, even though you're somewhat fatigued actually. Might be better not to. Let's deploy in a line here. Yes, couriers can get killed if your units are if your units are behind enemy lines, for example, and messages can even get intercepted, which is extremely fun in multiplayer. So you can actually intercept enemy orders and get to read them if you catch one of their couriers. And there we go, we are at the end of time, and we got ourselves a major victory here for taking and holding the point long enough. So here we got it. Near Waterloo, our gallant forces have inflicted a crushing defeat on the enemy army. A number of guns have been captured, and our cavalry forces are harrying the rapidly retreating elements of their rear guard. So here we can exit the battles or save the replay. We got a score listed which is saved in the game, so you can rewatch high scores later on, see how you did, perhaps compare them to other people in the forums. And save the replay if you want to rewatch it anytime and try and perfect your strategy and tactics. And again, because the AI is so well at adapting to different situations, it might be playing very differently every time you try. For example, when I first tried to attack the chateau directly, let's return to the battle quickly so we got some more fire going on. So when I tried to attack the chateau directly in this mission earlier, the enemy reinforcements actually joined in the chateau rather than coming over here. So they understood where I was putting pressure and where their units were needed. So you can stop running away, guys. You're no longer in the front line. So yeah, there we have our brief overview of Scourge of War Napoleon, and it's on sale now at Matrix Games and Slitherine, and It's a great deal. You can get the box copy with a full colored manual as well, so if you want to dive right into it, that might be a great option for you. We're going to start shipping the box copies from the 18th of June, but you can order them already and you'll get a download version until your copy arrives, so you can start playing immediately while waiting for your box copy if you would want that. In addition, if you want to see more of Scourge of War Waterloo, we got a bit of a surprise next week. We're going to actually try and recreate as many battles as possible from the Battle of Waterloo, or as many elements of the battle as possible from the full Battle of Waterloo in a Twitch streaming marathon. So throughout the day next week on the 18th, you can join us for all kinds of battles. We're trying to match the historical time of the different engagements with the real time that they happened during the Battle of Waterloo. So you'll see probably this battle and many others during the entire day. So you can just hop in, say hi, ask questions, etc. and get a bit more information on the game. Because of course, as you might understand, playing for about an hour, 50 minutes is not enough to cover a game of this size. So be sure to grab us there. I'd also like to point out that our summer sale has started in conjunction with the Steam summer sale. All the prices of our games that are discounted are also matched on the Matrix and Slitherine side. So if you buy any games there, you will get a Steam key as well. A great deal is the Pandora First Contact. Now it's on the Steam flash sale. So be sure to check that out, pick those up. And yes, a good point here from Chuck, because I will obviously be making several historical mistakes like calling canister shrapnel. A lot of the guys from Norps of Death will be joining into the streaming marathon as well to correct any errors I will obviously make. Yes, Military History Now covered the news. A couple of other outlets covered as well, so be sure to join us. It's at this channel. So bookmark us, follow us, and we get a notification as soon as we go online again. And there we go, the battle. So thank you all for watching. I'd like to thank all the guys from the Norps of Death team, all the developers here from Scourge of War Waterloo for their help and all their wisdom in the chat over here. And I'd like to thank again you all for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next week where we play a full you could even call it campaign Scourge of War Waterloo, or a full Battle of Waterloo. So thanks again for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time.